Fresh Juicy Taekwondo Memes 5. Mr. Bryson when John starts cussing. And now, you have officially carried it too far, buddy. John. Sir. John yelling about his son. Mr. Bryson. Mr. Bryson knowing the correct responses to the rant of an angry parent because of his master's club training, just like the simulations. John not leaving the argument and making a scene. Miss Kirsten telling him to leave. You know the rules, and so do I. Mr. Bryson. If you ever make my kid cry again, all the taekwondo in the world won't save your expletive. Don't call me sir, my name's John. Mr. Bryson. Have mercy please. John. There is no mercy. Taekwondo won't save your expletive. Don't call me sir, my name's John. John walking in the door, the whole class. Carter comes home crying. John. Bryson. Mr. Bryson. I was wrong to treat your son that way. I'm sorry. John. See, now you respect him, because I'm a threat. Miss Kirsten trying to get John to calm down. Let the potato rest for 5 minutes. Mr. Bryson. I'm sorry sir. John. Peace was never an option. John. You made my son cry. Mr. Bryson. Can we not discuss this here? Taekwondo won't save your expletive. I'm sorry sir. Don't call me sir. My name's John. John. Cussing and ranting. Mr. Bryson. Carter is a crybaby and needs to grow up. John. If my kid could read he'd be very upset. John preparing for his rant in the bathroom mirror. John. Mr. Bryson made my son cry in front of the whole class. Mr. Jim. Unfortunately for you, history will not see it that way. John after Mr. Jim terminates his contract, files a police report, and issues a trespass warning. Sir. John. Mr. Bryson. Mr. Bryson calls John sir for the 5th time. John. I'm once again asking for you to not call me sir. How Taekwondo people play sports, you'll have to do better than that, Savannah. John walks in, hyper music stops. John cusses at Mr. Bryson. Miss Kirsten. I'm sorry sir, it's time for you to leave. Miss Kirsten asks John to leave. John. I'ma not head out. My terrible sparring partner, me. You're lucky Caden didn't show up. The way you're fighting you wouldn't have lasted long. Me asks Mr. Bryson a question about my form. Mr. Bryson. 0% interest. Mr. Bryson. Mr. Jim. Miss Kirsten. Mr. Jim. What's the first step to introduce yourself to a student who needs help? Me. Casually approach child. Nobody. Mr. Jim when he takes an extended vacation. A D.O. Me. Insults Mr. Bryson with sarcasm. Hyper music stops. None of you youth black belts deserve to be a black belt. Mr. Jim. If those kids could read they'd be very upset. T-shirts at the holiday sale exist. Dojang grandmas. I'll take your entire stock. Before quarantine. After quarantine. Mr. Bryson when he sees Fresh Juicy Taekwondo Memes 5 and sees all of our memes about John. Humor based on my pain. I love honey, but you know what I don't love? John. Us watching John storm out of the dojang. We won't be seeing him again. Me is bored to death from quarantine. Mr. Jim, can I offer you a daily chore in this trying time? Thank you for watching this episode of Fresh Juicy Taekwondo Memes.